So good morning, I'm George Caponelli. I'm the co-founder of Age Nation, and it's delightful to be here this morning. We have obviously a remarkable panel, both here with us as well as on the wall here in the Kiva, and live stream. We'll be getting our guest panelists directly. To set the stage for the program today, I'm going to begin by sharing a quote from the Dalai Lama. I love it because it really helps me to recognize that I'm not alone in believing that the inmates somehow or another have gotten out of the asylum and are causing significant challenge in the world around us, you know. This quote also helps me remember that there's a critical step that each of us needs to take in our lives, and that step is to become much, much more responsible for our own wellness, our own health, our own self-care. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today and a lot of the experience our panelists will share with us is really about how we make that transition from depending on systems to paying attention to the requirements we have as individuals. So here's the quote by the Dalai Lama. It's called The Paradox of Our Age. We have bigger houses but smaller families, more conveniences but less time. We have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts and more problems, more medicine but less healthiness. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but have trouble crossing the street to meet our new neighbors. We've built more computers to hold more information, to produce more copies than ever, but have less communication. We've become long on quality, and these are times of fast foods, but slow on digestion, tall men, but short character, steep profits, but shallow relationships. It's time when there is much in the window, but nothing in the room. Isn't that an extraordinary quote? You know? So that's why I believe we're here, why we've gotten together to engage in this dialogue this morning. And I do believe that it is our time to take much greater responsibility. So we have panelists who are each going to share a little bit about who they are and their relationship to self-care and preventative medicine and preventative practices. And then we're going to open the floor up to a Q&A with those of you who are live here in the room, as well as those of you from around the world who are joining us via the live stream. So I want to start by introducing our real host and the founder of the Chi Center, Master Mingtong Gu. Many of you, of course, who are online are really familiar with him. I want to caution you, however, that he's one of the most serious people that I know. And as some of you know, he rarely smiles and he almost never dances, you know? But he is a good man, I want you to know that. And we're really delighted to have him with us today. So he does, Master Mingtong Gu does bring his exuberant teachings and extensive mastery to help all of us expand our ability to access our wisdom and our energy. Born and raised in China, he received extensive training in Qigong under Grandmaster Pang at the largest Qigong medicineless hospital in China. I think actually it's the largest in the world, isn't it, Mingtong? And if you don't know much about Master Pang and his work over time in working with Mingtong, you'll learn a lot about the extraordinary gifts that Master Pang evolved and that Mingtong was fortunate enough to study. He's mastered the unique ability to lead the collective energy field to accelerate personal and global healing. He was named Qigong Master of the Year by the World Congress of Qigong and TMC. He leads retreats and workshops internationally since founding the Qi Center, which is an extraordinary place. 80 acres of wonder here in Galisteo, New Mexico, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to come here and participate in person. And his mission is clear to all who meet him. He's committed to bringing wisdom, healing, Qigong to as many people around the world as possible. And in truth, based on his success to date, he's well on his way to accomplishing that goal. Sedena Capinelli is seated next to Mingtong. She's my wife. She's the co-founder of Age Nation, an award-winning author, sought-after speaker. She's designed and delivered consulting and coaching programs to hundreds of businesses, the people who lead them, and over 100,000 people who have attended the public seminars, workshops, and retreats that she participates in. She's the creator of the portable self-enhancement program, the author of a children's book called Everything's Exactly as It Should Be. She's also, she's had the grace and the patience, actually, to co-author 5 books with me. And I can attest to the patience and the grace. Say Yes to Change, Authenticity, Do Not Go Quietly, The Best Is Yet to Be, and Getting Unstuck. Her lifelong commitment to the healing arts and her 25-year love affair with the practice of Qigong and other ancient and contemporary modalities serves as the basis for the work that she does, remarkable work that she does with women around the world. Is Gabe on? Yes. So if we can go to the Zoom screen. There he is. Hi, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
So,
hey, everybody.
Gabe Hoffman co-founded Evolution of Medicine in 2014 with a mission to create a medical system capable of effectively reversing, preventing, and managing chronic illness. Gabe began his journey into the health and wellness field through his personal battles with cancer as a teenager. After 8 years as a holistic nutritionist and director of the premier holistic cleansing center in New York City, he partnered with James Maskell to focus on accelerating the medical evolution toward a more effective chronic disease management system. And if we can go to Lon, please. There he is.
Hi, Lon.
Dr. Lon Hadfield, MD, PhD, is currently the Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors for Washington's Physicians Health Program. Following 40 years as an esteemed rural family practice physician, as an advocate for blending Western medicine with ancient and modern alternative therapies, he was drawn to wisdom healing Qigong, because he finds it effective in helping patients with chronic conditions. For Western medicine has limited benefit from his experience and can empower people in their own health and healing journey. Lon obtained his PhD in biochemistry at Purdue, an MD at Iowa. In addition to his family practice, he's also served as the head of obstetrics and president of the medical staff at Mount Carmel Hospital. Back here in the room, in the center, Dr. Erica Elliot, board certified in family practice and environmental medicine, and practices here in Santa Fe. She has more than 2 decades of experience in successfully treating people with complex, perplexing chronic ailments. Dr. Elliot has lectured extensively on nutrition. She's been referred to as the health detective, drawing from a wide range of disciplines, both mainstream and alternative, to diagnose and treat many different types of illnesses, often difficult to identify. She's the co-author of Prescriptions for a Healthy House. And she's one of the biggest hearts and has one of the deepest, excuse me, commitments to healing of any physician that I've ever met.
And I brought Qigong to Antarctica, the seventh continent. Pictures to prove it on my blog post.
And there are penguins all over Antarctica that are just celebrating.
This was amazing pictures.
So, Dr. Robin Benson, her mission has been fueled by the lessons learned and the wisdom and insights gained on her transformational 25-year journey as a doctor of Oriental medicine, and her travels to 70 countries to learn from indigenous people. In addition to building a 21st century healthcare center, which is the home of 25 practitioners with a vision that is locally focused and globally expressed, and it's called Santa Fe Soul, yes? She started the self-care revolution to change the face of healthcare one person at a time. Dr. Benson also specializes in leading-edge amplified regenerative therapies. I'm Italian, I have trouble with these words, you know. Designed to renew, restore, and revive patients' health. And lastly, on the screen, at least, of the 3 Zoom callers, Ilka de Gast.
Elka.
Did she take another break, Ilka? Hi, Ilka. Ilka de Gast is a psychologist who specializes in mindfulness and body-centered therapy. In her work at a large medical clinic in Santa Rosa, California, she teaches wisdom healing Qigong to patients dealing with chronic health conditions. In the past several years, she's also started teaching wisdom healing Qigong as self-care to medical healthcare providers and staff. She offers patients and staff this ancient practice of gentle movement, sound visualization, and meditation as a way to empower themselves and optimize health and wellness. Ilka is a certified level 1 instructor in wisdom healing Qigong. She's a student of Master Mingtong Gu. And here back in the room is Dr. Christopher Powell with almost 30 years of humanitarian service, including in the U.S. Coast Guard, Air, Sea, Search and Rescue, Oakland County ER, EMT, CPR instructor, Third World International Service Projects, Doctor of Chiropractic, Holistic, Manual/Energy Medicine, and Kundalini Yoga teacher. Dr. Powell has integrated his experience in both worlds of emergency and complementary medicine, health, and wellness care. His postdoctorate advanced certifications include reorganizational healing and mastery systems coaching. He has a passion to inspire, co-empower, facilitate, and educate about underlying causes of pain and suffering and how to get your life back on track. He's currently director of a deep healing retreat center called Sanctuary of the Stars here in Galisteo, New Mexico. So that's our panel. Let's give them a hand, shall we? And now, beginning with Mingtong, each will share a little bit about their practice and their relationship to self-care and preventative medicine.
First of all, welcome you, everyone, all the friends here locally and also friends non-locally. And this is a truly international event, you know, really sharing this message, the message of health and healing, the message of self-care and deeper empowerment. And I was not expecting George have such an extensive introduction, but I'm happy he did it because really, you know, for us to know such extensive experience of these panelists, not so much of everybody's resume, but really give me a sense of, wow, what a journey everybody have, you know, taken. So today is really one of the goal for us is here to share this journey with all of you together. I know every one of you out there, whether you locally in person here or non-locally, through the virtual space, internet, you have your own journey. You have your own story. You have your own desire, deeper inspiration. And the fact you're connecting with this webinar, I think something inside of you is really calling for a deeper, let's say, deeper connection. So when we come into health, there's so many options available. We're going to hear many different gifts from this panel. But more importantly, I want to really suggest my wish for all of you is discover what is most important for you. What is really health? What is truly healing? What is the wholeness of mind, body, heart? Yeah. So whatever way, when thoughts I had is like, wow, after I hear everybody's journey story, we could just spend, 2 days, whole weekend, just talk about, what do we know. And so in whatever this brief times, we're going to share just briefly, but more, my deepest wish is for you to, take your healing to the next level. So whatever you have been exploring, you really discover, what is most important for you in your next step. So of course, I'm specialized in wisdom healing Qigong. I'm not going to, get into a long story of my own journey, but briefly really share what I have discovered continuously through my own journey, but also working with thousands of people, over the years. So especially, I just came back from a 3 weeks trip and almost 2 weeks in Israel, then in Omega, and working with these people really continuously to be most inspiring. It's like recognizing, as Dalai Lama's quotes indicating, on one hand is, what amazing challenge we are facing. Yeah. On the other hand is recognizing the deeper need, deeper calling for health and healing. Yeah. And then also recognizing is like, over the years I taken for granted what wisdom healing Qigong is. Yeah. But recognizing so many out there, not only not knowing what this is possible, this new way of healing, new way of creating health for yourself is possible. It's not knowing even how simple, how direct this kind of practice is available for everyone. So that at the same time, it's like amazingly powerful when people show up without any experiences from different culture, different background, from different diagnoses, different stories, whole baggage of things, not just baggage of medicine, but baggage of stories, baggage of impossibility and stress, all that conditioning we have, including the conditioning of a healthcare system in general. Yeah. So suddenly, when you do the practice, realizing, oh, I can make a difference now. I can, really empower myself to take care of myself, to make change, no matter whether it's for, preventive reason, also healing of chronic condition, no matter how severe it is. Yeah. So I just want to begin to share, 3 things we continue to discover when people come to wisdom healing Qigong as a self-healing, self-care, self-empower modality. First is you're going to discover you have a body. You have a body. Including the people sitting on the panel, including myself, including you, wherever you're sitting, wherever you are right now. You have a body. I can talk about that for another hour, but the question, that invitation for you to reflect on what that means. Yeah. And the second discovery is that is your own body. Not only you have a body, but that is your own body. It's not a body of a medical book. It's not a body, as being told by doctors, by healers, by your teachers, by your parents. Yeah. It's your own body. And that means you have more access to your own body internally, more than anyone on this planet Earth, as far as I know. If you want to go as far as to the universe, you can. But let's put it in that scale, in that perspective. You have the most access to your own body than anyone in the universe. And the third message is when you discover access your body, realizing your body is more than a biological chemical machine, more than just a vehicle for the spirit, even more than certain analogy we use as a temple for the sacred essence of who we are. This body containing everything who we are. That this body is containing not only the physical aspect, but a subtle energetic aspect. Also all our emotional, world, and also our spiritual energetic field. This body carries all the imprints of the past in the personal level as well as the universal level, and carries all the potential, creative potential. Everything that you are longing for, including health, it's all there inside of you. The quality of loving kindness and the joy, compassion, creativity, wisdom, and health, vitality. It's all here inside of you. It's waiting for you to discover. It's waiting for you, only you, to discover for yourself. So the true gift of wisdom healing Qigong for me, and have been so passionately share about it, is the most powerful tool. Allow me to discover all these three layers. So as a result, you're enhancing, you're empowering, you're expanding the capacity of mind, body, heart. And that's healing, and that's health. That's his ongoing responsibility, ongoing joy of connecting with yourself, awakening to the wholeness. So I'm so looking forward to hear, everybody's journey and experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mingtong. Thank you so much. And for creating this incredible center where we can all come and practice and just immerse ourselves in. It's a real gift to our community here. And all of you out there, thank you for being here. I'm really excited to be a part of the Qigong and conscious aging movement, right? That we're in. And this is a new paradigm shift. It's so incredible and it's so needed. To take us away from the outdated, total reliance anyway, on doctors and on sources that are out there, and changing the focus to an inner-directed focus for self-healing and taking responsibility for our own lives. And that's, as Mingtong was saying, as George said, that's really what's needed in our world right now, for each one of us, for each one of our bodies, right? So there's a quote I really love. It says, "The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot." And I love that because we are in an evolutionary shift and we are pilots. We can pilot our lives and come into a deeper connection with our connection with the unlimited source of being. Let's face it, scientists tell us that we are part of this quantum field of unlimited energy, right? So they've already told us it's proven now, so we can buy it, okay? We can relax into it. Yeah, we can have permission now. So we're in new territory, and in order to navigate these new, uncharted waters that we're in, we really do need some updated tools, some updated skills to get us through this time, so that we were vitally alive and well, and so that we can thrive as we age. And we are all aging. Everyone listening out there. So that's why Qigong, I think, is so valuable, so preventative. Such a well of it's like, for me, a portal of wellness. So that we can take our health back into our own hands. We can take that control. I had an experience of this many years ago. I had a very challenging time. I hit a real bottom. I don't know if anybody out there has ever had that. But for me, it was devastating. And I gained access to these incredible esoteric ancient practices and began practicing diligently. And within a matter of a few months, everything turned around, everything. And I can say that the practice of Qigong literally changed my life in so many ways. And along the way, I added contemporary and integrative energy practices, a lot of different things, beautifying techniques. I had to add that. I was an actor, and all kinds of things that would really help me, longevity techniques, and that became a life wellness practice that I integrated into the corporate work that I was doing with George, with organizations, and now it's part of everything we do with Age Nation, all our programs, all our events. And the bottom line of it, the bottom construct of it is Qigong, really. And so I actually would not have my purpose, such a strong purpose, to support people, to uplift people in the second half of life, if it weren't for Qigong. So it actually gave me a purpose. And that's a benefit when we are whole that we get to have. We come alive to life, and we want to fulfill our purpose. And wholeness is our birthright. It really is our birthright. And even in this preventative, I have notes here because I know I'll go over 5 minutes if I don't keep with these notes. But we have this changing healthcare environment, and being in this is, it's pretty amazing. We're also in the tsunami of aging. We're in Age Nation, we talk about the demographic shift, where over half of our population will be over 50 years of age for the first time in history. And this is all at one time. This is with industrialized countries all around the world. So even with that and the healthcare, life care situation and everything that's going on, we can still claim our wholeness, right? We still have the power to claim our own wholeness. And when I think of the tsunami, I was talking about the tsunami of aging, I think of that tsunami that devastated everything. And you remember I was always amazed by those trees that stood strong and tall. And why? Because they had deep roots. They had a real foundation. And for me, that's what Qigong is. It gives us a foundation, a real support, an inner directed support system so that we can be strong. And it's from the inside out. So we can start wherever we are. We just start from the beginning like I did with a simple practice. Because a simple gesture can be the beginning of a lifetime of self-care and self-love. And I just wish that for every one of you, everyone here and everyone listening, that you can experience that and start wherever you are, because wherever you are is perfect. We can just accept wherever we are and begin from there. And I think of Ram Dass. He said, we're all here to walk each other home. So let's do this together. Really glad to be here. Thanks. Thanks.
Gabe, can we go to Gabe?
I, I guess I'm next. I wasn't sure of the order. Well, in my introduction, they mentioned a bit about my own journey. When I was 17, having gone through the Hodgkin's disease, and 19, and kind of going through the conventional healthcare model, then at a certain point, making a change. The message that we get from medicine, and the message that I got at that time, was there was nothing I could do that would impact my health. I had to depend on doctors basically to tell me whether I was going to live or die, and they would do their best to give me the best shot, and we'll see what happens. At a certain point on that journey, after coming out of basically a coma for 10 days and sort of starting to rally, I came home after a stem cell transplant, and my family, we decided to start to pursue a more holistic approach. We had heard some people were taking vitamins, and so with really nowhere else to turn, that's what I started doing. If I fast forward, that was 17 years ago. But I think the real turning point there was that I became empowered to take care of myself. For the first time, I found out that there was something I could do that was going to impact my health. That began a journey where I went back to school. I became an integrative practitioner. I worked with people for 10 years. And then now I've left that, and I'm sort of one of the leaders of a community of right now 50,000 doctors and practitioners who are in functional medicine and lifestyle medicine, and are really what we hope becomes the future of primary care. And it's been an interesting journey getting from there to here, and I've spent more than half of my life as either a patient or a practitioner, and in one of those seats. And now working with this community. So what I see from it, and what I've learned, is that the biggest shift we can make is to leave the paternalistic healthcare model of a patient comes in to see a doctor, and the doctor is sitting on this pedestal, and he's going to tell you whether you're going to live or die. And it's the doctor has all the power. We are shifting into a new medicine model, which is patient-centered. It's about empowering ourselves, about empowering patients, and it really depends on having the right relationship creating the right relationship between practitioner and patient, and understanding what our role is. On some level, personally, we all are living our own hero's journey. And I know with the community that's on here, you guys have heard this mythology and this story before, and we all have, and we're all living it. And the doctor, I think, has been positioned unfairly as the hero in most people's healing journeys up until now. And the truth is, it's not the doctor. The doctor is a guide and is a support, or the practitioner is a guide or is a support. And the truth is, we're all guides and supports to each other, but we're all living our own story and our own journey. And so empowerment is what the future of medicine is. It's about educating people. It's about creating the right relationship between ourselves and medicine. So when we speak to doctors and the doctors in our community, they're understanding that, and they're educators. So a lot of what we do at the Evolution of Medicine is help the doctor educate people, but do it in a way that doesn't just come out of their time, because the doctor has their own life and needs to create a lifestyle that works for them and their family. So what's amazing is, as we all become empowered individually, medicine is actually going to be able to spread and scale very differently than before. And the cost of medicine is going to come down significantly, because, like Mingtong said, we have responsibility for this body. And by taking responsibility, and when I took responsibility for my own health, that was the most empowering thing I ever did in my life. I think sometimes we can struggle with feeling guilty, like if I'm responsible, then it's my fault that I don't feel good. But the other side of that coin is it's also you're the one who can make, who can heal yourself. So there's a lot of power in that. Of course, we all need each other. Of course, we all need connection. Of course, we all need guidance. But how can we do this in a smarter way? And how can we change the paradigm of how medicine is delivered? And that's across the board. So along that journey, I've obviously done many things with my diet, with nutrition, I've been involved in every approach. It's been the majority of my life. And I would say that all of it is important. But for my own personal healing, as I've been exposed to Qigong and have embraced the wisdom healing Qigong specifically, that has been the most profound and empowering medical intervention I've made to this point. Because it is the only thing I've seen so far that is just between me and myself. It's not even about a supplement I'm taking. It's not even about something that's being recommended to me. It's not an outside treatment. Now, I still utilize those things, but to every day come back to something that is just between me and myself, it's my own relationship to myself and my body, is so empowering. And it's also so cost effective that I don't see any way the future of healthcare evolves without incorporating this type of thing. In functional medicine and lifestyle medicine, they talk about stress as a piece of the pie. And, you have sleep and drinking water and your foods, your relationships and stress. But the reality is stress is the entire pie. And all of these other pieces are different types of stress. But Qigong has the ability to work on stress differently than any other intervention. So I've been very grateful to come across this as I've been continuing on my journey, and look forward to seeing how we integrate this into medicine. But I feel very confident and very hopeful that we are, and having the right relationship. I think Qigong establishes that relationship, and it's something that we can teach patients and we can teach each other as we come into a community together, all with personal responsibility for our health and our journey, as well as the ability to share with each other. So I appreciate getting a chance to speak here and sharing some of this, and thank you.
Can we go to Lon next, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, it's been a delight to hear the different people speak so far, and Gabe was talking about how empowering this can be. As a family practice doc for 40 years in a rural area, I remember back when family practice was started, and we talked about preventive medicine and lifestyles and things like that, but we never really seemed to get to where we wanted to be with all of that. And so medicine, as I've experienced it over the years, has been primarily disease management. It's great for emergencies, it's great for acute problems, but it's really pretty limited in dealing with chronic disease problems. And as George and Sedena were talking about the aging nation that we have a lot of baby boomers that are coming into this place of saying, I want to look at my longevity and how I'm going to deal with that. And medicine clearly doesn't have a pill for your longevity. But we, I think, have seen that 75 to 90% of our illnesses are lifestyle created. But people have been very confused as to what should I do to help my own decisions. And we've disempowered people in the sense of what Gabe was talking about, that is, with all of the information that's out there, that we don't know what to do as a nation, what to eat, what kind of exercise to do. Everybody's trying to promote some type of this or that for a person. So let me go back to where I see the issue, and that is that if we are going to re-empower people to take decisions for themselves, I would go back to my experience a year ago with Mingtong. And that experience was generated 25 years ago, actually, when a mutual friend asked me to have dinner with Effie Chow, who I think was the first female master Qigong person in China who came to the United States, and she's still practicing Qigong and teaching. And I wanted to learn Qigong, but I wanted to learn it from a person that really embodied Qigong, not from somebody that was going to treat it like another exercise program at the gymnasium. All of those are good, but I wanted to get it from somebody that really embodied it. And a year ago, a good friend of ours, who is a teacher of wisdom healing Qigong, said, "You really need to meet Mingtong." And in my Western scientific hat, I said, "Sure, you know how this is." And we went to a workshop, and that's really the only way to, or the best way to first become aware of it. And even though my wife and I don't seem to have any real medical problems, we went to a workshop that was for neurologic diseases. And it was a week-long workshop where we were able to firsthand experience what people were experiencing during their week with chronic diseases like Parkinson's and chronic fatigue and autoimmune deficiencies and all the different things that people brought to that workshop. And within a week, noticing how much they were empowered to make progress in decreasing their pain, increasing their joy in life. People that are in Qigong just seem to have a great joy in what's going on and the happiness that we see. So out of that, we learned about the program that people can very easily learn. It's not that easy to get into the depth of it, but with practice can learn that both with computer online programs, and my thinking is that the best thing is to do it in a workshop to start out this. But what we do know is that physicians specifically have about a 60% burnout rate right now. And so to ask a physician to also learn about Qigong is really challenging because they're dealing with overwork and overwhelm and burnout a lot. And so to bring in another program for them to learn is very challenging. But my experience with this is that this is a well-researched, well-grounded program. The Medicineless Hospital in China has over 3,000 published research papers where people would come into the hospital, be diagnosed with medical doctors at the hospital, so they knew what they were really dealing with when they came in. And then a month later would have a repeat examination to see what changes took place with remarkable responses in chronic disease that don't have any treatment in our Western medicine. So we saw that that was a very powerful thing for people. And I think that the physicians and healthcare providers have been looking for something that can support and supplement everything else that people are already doing in a way that really makes sense for them, that really empowers them to make good choices in their own health care. So my sense is that from the time that we've spent with Wisdom Healing Qigong, it's the one program out of many that are very good. And Roger Yankee said, in response to what Qigong program should I do? Well, the one that's right there in front of you, do that one. But if a person doesn't already have a practice that they're doing, getting started with something like Wisdom Healing Qigong has the best research and the most published data behind it, with the 5,000 years of history that supports this new program in the United States that Mingtong has brought to the United States, and teaches very well with joy, and it's just fun to be around the people. And then you see the dramatic successes that I've personally seen for my wife and myself. Just our own health was good to begin with, but it just improves, and the joy and happiness in life is just wonderful to watch. So what I can do is simply roundly encourage people to learn more about this and to make their own choices, I think the best way to do it is to go to a workshop. That really lets you dive deep into it quickly and have the benefits that come out of it immediately. So it's a delight to be on the panel. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to whoever's running.
Thank you, Lon. Thank you. Dr. Elliot?
My name is Erica, and it's very inspiring listening to the speakers. When I was a conventional doctor at one time, can you believe that? and I paid back my National Health Service Corps obligation because they paid for my medical school. I had no money. I had just come back from the Peace Corps. So I owed them service in a remote area, underserved. And so I became the medical director at Cuba, New Mexico. And many of my patients were Navajo. I spoke Navajo because I had been a school teacher right out of college on the Navajo reservation at Canyon de Chelly. And so when these old women would come in, I would talk Navajo to them and just like put them in complete shock. And but then they would talk very more relaxed with me since I spoke their language, and they would talk about Ezetini, and that means, that's a reference to us white doctors, as opposed to Khatkhali, which is a huge compliment, means Khattalis are medicine men who really do meaningful healing, where they reconnect the patient with their community, with their own spirit, and with the natural world. And whereas we were called this pretty awful word called Azehini. It was awful because of what it meant. It meant he who gives out pills. And I thought, oh my God, that's what we're all about. That's really horrible. But I didn't have a choice. There was no place to be more thoughtful, alternative type of practitioners. I, at times, in a 24 hours, would see up to 60 patients. As you can imagine, I became a pill dispenser. You have a sore throat, here this. You can't sleep, take this. You're anxious, take that. And I knew that this was an awful way to practice medicine, but there was nothing I could do about it for the 2 years of service that I owed there. But it really planted something in my mind that this is exactly how I never want to practice medicine. But then I sort of, after I completed my service, I sort of found myself in corporate medicine still practicing that way. And then, like Gabe, I had a disaster which saved my life. And it was a horrible disaster. I got chemically injured by some horrible chemicals that were used in the clinic, like chlorpyrifos pesticides, which are known to cause brain damage. And given my genetics, that I don't detoxify very well, I became brain damaged, and I had all systems were terribly impacted. And I became really disabled, but I still had to practice medicine because I needed to support my baby. I was a single parent. And so I had to leave that toxic building, and another organization, Women's Health Service, asked me to come work for them. And I said, well, you know, I'm brain damaged. And they said, that's all right. They say, patients will love you. And patients really did like me, and even though I wasn't home upstairs, and I think it's because since I couldn't use my brain, I used my heart. And some patients actually who had known me for many years, one of them said, Dr. Elliot, I don't want you to take this in the wrong way. I'm trying to pay you a compliment, so don't take this in the wrong way. But I like you better since you're brain damaged. I said, what? And she said, you're coming from your heart, and I know you really feel me, even though your brain isn't working, and that means a lot to me. And plus, you're the only doctor that's ever really listened to me. And I got that from a lot of people. So the clinic got so popular that they had to expand, and then I thought, oh, shoot, they're going to remodel. Now it's over for me. Well, they did remodel, and they tried to use all non-toxic products. Is it over? No. My 5 minutes is over? No. Okay, so they tried their best, but when I went in, they had a sealer. They had used a sealer over the whole thing, and I almost passed out. And so that was it for me. So I thought, oh, wow, now I'm going to be a bag lady, but I can't. I have to support my son. What am I going to do? I can't go in public buildings. I'm one of those people you read about that can't go anywhere, can't do anything, and you think they maybe have psychiatric problems. And I was one of those. And so I just stayed in my house thinking it's over for me. I'm going to have to farm out my son and sell my house and give my son back to his father. And so it was just gut-wrenching. And then all of a sudden, these people started knocking on my door and saying they wanted to come in and have an appointment in my house. And so I said, well, I'm brain damaged. And they said, can we still come in and have an appointment? And so that's how my practice started in 1993. The first patient came and sat on my living room, and I couldn't track her. My brain was so damaged, but I made intense eye contact to compensate, and I tried to feel her from my heart, and I cried when she cried and so forth from her terrible story. She'd had a similar story as mine. And then suddenly she said, are we done? And I didn't even know if we were done. So I said, I guess so. And she said, I want to pay you. I said, well, I haven't really done anything. And so she said, you don't get it. You've done more than any other doctor I've seen. You're the only doctor that's really ever cared about me and listened to me. And she pulled out a $100 bill, and that was how my practice began. And so I learned environmental medicine, and then I actually had more than just my heart to offer the patients. I had some really useful information, and that's when my whole life became about empowering my patients. I wanted so much for my patients to feel good, and I wanted them to take their health in their own hands. So I shared with them everything I knew about how to have a full, meaningful life. And I addressed every issue of their life, their spiritual issues, their diet, their connection with nature. I used every tool, even including tools that I learned from the Navajo Indians. I learned tools from all over the world. And one of the tools that I used with my patients who had been traumatized, I attracted people. My practice exploded because when they heard there was a doctor that
was brain dead.
I had a big heart. Her brain had started to come online now. So now I was connected, head and heart were connected, and I could practice as a full human being and give my humanity to my patients. And they knew it. They trusted me, and I wanted to be worthy of their trust. And so one of the methods I used for traumatized patients, and I seem to really attract patients whose been massively traumatized, either by the medical world, by their own bodies, by their family. In many ways, they had been traumatized and suffered from chronic anxiety disorders. And some came to me after having horrendously bad experiences with mainstream medicine. And so they were gun shy and very fearful. So one of the things that I've done, which really works well, is I have them stand up with me and do lift chi up and pour chi down. Oh my God. It totally works. And I could guarantee no matter how anxious, nonstop talking, just so nervous, they calm down and they're really ready to listen. And what I'm all about, just like Gabe, is I'm all about empowering my patients, empowering them with all the tools I know about, but also empowering them like to stop blaming, to take responsibility in a good way. And some of my patients, as I was sharing with Mariel, a few of my patients are narcissistic because of their upbringing. They've not received love or kindness or tenderness. They've really received either just indifference, coldness, or outright abuse. And so they don't care about gratitude and empathy and so forth because they never received it. They don't know how to do it. So I go at it through the narcissism. I say, when you blame your husband, you're actually weakening yourself and you're giving him all that power. Do you really want to do that? Give him he has power over you. So anyway, I will end here. And I'm very happy to be here. And I've got lots of things I'd like to share with you about conscious aging, like the brain, how we can help protect our brain with the latest research is pretty darn exciting. Thank you.
Thanks, Erica.
Thank you, Erica. I haven't seen you like 3 years since we met. And you're a new person now. You're a complete new person. I remember how you came to first workshop.
I was sick from another accident. I
Yeah.
had 2 disasters in my life. That's to make sure I really understand suffering.
Amazing.
It's my PhD, postgraduate degree in how to survive suffering and get to the other side and help other people.
Yeah.
Share.
Thank you so much. How lucky am I to live in Santa Fe, having doctors like Erica next door to work with and share patients with. So 25 years of practice, it's been quite an amazing journey. And I'm really grateful because I've learned so much from my travels and I get to bring that into my practice. And it was part of the inspiration for creating Santa Fe Soul Center for Optimal Health. A place where you walk in and you're greeted by a prayer wall that represents all healing and all spiritual traditions. And I think that's an important place for people to really feel received. And self-care, I have to say, I guess it was like my 20 years of just seeing so much unnecessary suffering on my tables. I thought, I'm going to start a self-care revolution because I think of all the revolutions out there, we start with ourselves is an important one. And for the message that's so important is that self-care is a way of life, not an event. For a lot of times we need, right? Very often it's having a wake-up call of some sort, and that's really been kind of the place in which I like to work with my patients is this place of empowerment too, that taking care of self in all the levels, from how you wake up in the morning to how you express gratitude, to how you're nourishing yourself from the earth, how you're creating a healthy electrical system. I know you talked about we are a body, and for our biology and our chemistry to work really efficiently, we need a healthy electrical system, and there's no better place to get that restored than being outdoors. And I too have been so grateful from practicing Qigong and other types of movement exercise and being a long-time runner, but just cultivating that healthy way in which our energy is moving throughout our body is so essential, because again, so much of disease doesn't have to happen in the first place. And as we look and see our friends and loved ones on a day-to-day basis go through their own journey, you know, we look within ourselves and say, what could I do differently in my own life? How do I want to show up for my loved ones? And I just want to say I'm a mother of a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I treat children a lot. And I'm concerned about our children, you know, in today's world more than just about any population. We are an aging population, but we're also living in this digital age, which is rewiring. They're wiring their brains in a certain way. And so I think it's something to really talk about today as we talk about aging. And knowing that youthful aging is a choice, but I think I'd like to make sure we cover that today. And I just want to say what I'm most excited about, Gabe, being a functional medicine doctor, and I'm among, you know, this amazing tribe of people that are really coming from the heart, that we're really here to help people change the trajectory of their lives through self-care, through getting to the root cause of what's going on. But this whole emerging field of regenerative medicine is so exciting, which is really the science of using nature to heal naturally, to restore damaged tissues, under-functioning endocrine systems and immune systems, that we can do it. We can do it. We don't have to rely on prescription drugs or have a lifestyle of always having to make that choice. So regenerative medicine is really exciting. It's something that I get to practice using people's own platelet-rich plasma to restore joints, hair growth, sexual regeneration, just to know that youthful aging, I'm going to say that again, youthful aging is a choice, right? And to really want to live. That's another thing I just want to say about treating patients, is getting people back in touch with their why, their purpose, because without that, you know, we as facilitators in people's health, when that's not there, it's a real challenge. So for all of you that are listening, to really, when you think about your aging process or how you're waking up and how you're feeling every day, to really feel that desire to be alive and live the best life possible. Thank you.
Thanks, can we go to Ilka, please?
Hello. Hi, everyone. So wonderful to hear everyone's story, to see Mingtong and all of you there. So I'm a psychologist, as George mentioned, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about how Wisdom Healing Qigong how I've been using it for my own health and self-care as a psychologist, and also with my clients in a clinical setting. So I work in a large medical clinic in Sonoma County in California, and we serve 50,000 patients on an outpatient basis. And I work with patients with emotional and physical health conditions, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, addiction, substance use disorders, HIV and AIDS, and many different conditions. So I've been a psychologist for 10 years, but what I was realizing 4 years ago is that I really started to feel very overwhelmed myself in my work. And at the time, things were feeling so overwhelming with the increase of focus by the clinic on productivity and seeing more clients and have less time to see clients. And then also the vicarious traumatization of working with patients and listening to these very, very difficult stories all day long. So 4 years ago, I was thinking, I don't know if I want to continue with this. This is, I don't know if I love my patients, but I don't know if I can do it. And before that, I had worked with meditation and energy healing and various forms of sound healing. So I was working with those modalities. But I was thinking of getting out of the field and changing careers. And that's when one day, when I was in Petaluma, where I live, I bumped into Mingtong at a coffee shop. So Mingtong used to live in Petaluma before he changed his home to Galisteo in New Mexico. He was in Petaluma. So I met him at our favorite coffee shop, the best coffee shop in Petaluma, and then started to hear about wisdom healing Qigong. And very quickly, I immersed myself in the practices and learning the Qigong, and went to as many workshops as I could find that Mingtong was teaching, and joined the professional program. And I was finding slowly that the overwhelm and the burnout were feeling better, that I was getting through this. So at the same time, I started working with the wisdom healing Qigong with my patients, both on an individual basis, in one-to-one therapy, and also teaching classes. So I was teaching classes for patients with depression, anxiety, and chronic pain. And now working with chronic pain was especially important at the time, given the national opioid epidemic and the prescription drug abuse and high numbers of overdoses and accidental deaths. So nationally, clinics and doctors were being told to reduce their opioid prescriptions and to reduce their dosages below 120 MED. So this resulted in a big need for alternative forms of chronic pain management. So in fact, many of the doctors were left scrambling, not knowing what to offer their patients instead of the medication. So in my classes for chronic pain, I was seeing a lot of really good results. In fact, I was tracking the results through a small pilot study that I was doing for 8 weeks. And so I was tracking changes in stress and well-being and chronic pain. And I discovered that at the end of the 8 weeks, or over the 8 weeks, that people were making big changes. And one thing that I really appreciated with being able to offer these classes was, as others on the panel have mentioned, empowering patients to really take more responsibility for their own health and healing, and to be able to learn practices that they can take home to then practice themselves. And also that these practices can be used in conjunction with the conventional treatments that they were getting through their other doctors. So a big thing that I was teaching and that was making such a difference was for people to just come back to their bodies and to stop running from their pain, their emotional and physical pain, but to come back and to be in their bodies, so that life force energy can flow more freely. So I then sent out the data to an outside organization to have it scored. And so that when the scores came back, I then shared those with upper management, and they were very impressed with the results. And so became very supportive in my being able to continue to teach these classes. So that's what I'm still doing. I love it. So I'd like to just share one quote of a 15-year-old in one of my classes. And then before I do that, I do really want to give a quick plug for this event that I'm very excited about, which is for healthcare professionals. And it's on July 30th and 31st. And Mingtong is coming back to Petaluma to offer that event there. So also continuing education credits will be available for professionals, for healthcare professionals. So you can check on the website. So I'm excited about that. So the quote is from a 15-year-old teenager who was in my first Qigong class. And she came with her mother, and she was suffering from severe depression, eating disorder, and very difficult body image. She didn't want to be in the class. She didn't want to be in the class at all, but her mother kept just bringing her every week. And she would sit there, do the practices, and not talk at all. She really kept herself to herself. And then I had people complete several self-report questionnaires. And on one of the questionnaires, I asked for them to describe in their own words what changes were happening. So I was quite surprised to read in the second to last class that this teenager said, "I feel as if the darkness in my body is fading, like if my anger is disappearing." And then in the last class, she said, "Today I had knee pain and it went away as soon as we did the bending spine practice. I feel connected with my body. I've learned to accept all good and bad in my body, and I feel amazing." So that's very moving to me. So that's where I'll end my 5 minutes or more.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Christopher?
Last but not least, or I like to say last and everlasting. So I also met Mingtong at a coffee shop.
He does some of his best business in coffee shops and restaurants, you know. Yeah.
When we're neighbors, and I first saw him, and I saw this giant glass of a triple cappuccino, and I'm like, oh, that's why he's smiling all the time. It's all that coffee. No, I think you were drinking tea. So. Anyway, after about 25 years kind of in both worlds of emergency medicine, search and rescue, I got to see firsthand what doesn't work. And I think the gift in that, or the strength that we can learn from what's not working now, not as a judgment, not as a wrong or right, good or bad, but what works is that our current system is terminal. And it's time for us to be empowered and choose something more, because we deserve more. We deserve to thrive, like Sedena said. So a couple of the things that I learned, especially traveling around the world, working in Peru, one of the things I was seeing hundreds of people a day, and I couldn't communicate because I didn't know Spanish, so I had interpreters. And the night before, I just had a huge feast and ate everything, which I probably shouldn't have. And my digestive system did not like that. So I woke up in the morning with just coming out both ends, and I said, oh my God, how am I going to help all these people today? And one of the greatest tools was just to get out of my own way and say, I'm here to serve. So I think that's one of the greatest tools that I've learned to assist people is, how can I serve you? There's so many different paths. If you're on medication, if you're going through surgery, if you're wanting to choose a different route, how can I serve you? Not judging it as wrong or right, but what's going to work for you? And so service, whenever we're going through suffering or pain or challenges, really to get out and say, how can I serve someone else? So giving, serving, and loving, like you said, coming from the heart. I mean, I think that was a beautiful just metaphor for really getting out of our heads and reconnecting with the emperor inside. Hippocrates, who's the father of modern medicine, said it's the natural forces within that are the greatest healers and physicians and so many other amazing, smart people. Like Einstein said, look deep into nature, you know, for the greatest healers. So, you know, our current healthcare system is terminal, but it's in a chrysalis. It has to emerge from its emergency to emerging to something better, and it's up to us to actually choose it, to be empowered and say that, yes, how can I take back and amplify the innate wisdom, healing that comes from within. And one of the things I love with working with people, you know, as a chiropractor and coach is, you know, when people come in with pain, you know, our system now is really about how can we fight it, get rid of it, numb it out, not really look at the medicinal medicine in that. And that just, not wrong, not right, not judging, but, you know, whenever you're in a war against something or fear against something, it just causes the nervous system to go into that survival fight or flight response. And it shuts down our evolved brain, it shuts down healing, puts it on the back burner, so to speak. So it's really hard to survive, and, you know, when we're in that survival mode. So how do we get to thriving? Really is to embrace those things that are coming up in us, the pain, the discomfort, the challenge, so that we can get the message. And actually, because the message is the innate wisdom from within is trying to direct us back on track to follow our heart's desire, to align with our highest choice. So I'll end with another quote. I'm a quote man, so I try to memorize them all, but forgive me if I stumble on this one. But it was Voltaire that said, "The art of healing consists in amusing the patient while nature does the cure." So again, it's all about these tools that we can use, like Qigong. Two of the first books when I went into chiropractic school, I said, give me everything I can learn about alternative healing that comes from within. And 2 books fell off, literally jumped off the bookshelf. One was called The Reconnection, which is really about reconnecting your innate wisdom. And the other one was Qigong. So I was like, perfect, okay. So again, just coming back to Qigong is such a beautiful way. Take your shoes off, earth. It's so cheap, it's free. And then adding Qigong, really getting into those natural forces can do the greatest healing. And our greatest weakness shall be, not could be or will be, it shall be our greatest strength. So that's where we're at right now, is turning this weakness into our greatest strength. So, thank you.
So we want to thank all of our panelists for their sharing. We've run a little bit long, so we want to give you a chance to ask some questions. And I'll ask all of our panelists is, in answering the questions, give us succinct and direct answers so we can invite as many of you as possible. There is one quote that we'll close this section with, and that is that I don't even know who said it, but there are many things that will prolong your life, but only wisdom will save it. You know? So, questions from the audience? Yes, could you come up to this microphone? Would you mind, at the front of the room? It will help all of us hear. Thank you.
We want all the online participants engage with us also. So if you have a question, you can type into the chat box. And also really feeling the energy we're sharing together in this precious time.
If you could tip the microphone toward you and turn a little bit this way so the camera, face that way. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lot of wisdom here today. I wanted to ask Erica if she could please give us more information on her research and knowledge with regard to brain care, which you alluded to in your talk. Appreciate it.
And cutting-edge research has shown that Alzheimer's and dementia in general is accelerated with high-carb diet. Now, we used to say we didn't know what caused Alzheimer's. We knew that there was this amyloid deposits and plaques and so forth, and we thought that was the problem. And now we realize, I say we, researchers realized that it was the result of a problem. It was an inflammatory response and of something that was inflaming the brain and causing, in some people, these amyloid deposits. Other people have dementia without amyloid deposits, and they can be for different reasons. For example, I have a few patients, and I blogged about this, who turned around their dementia when they got sleep studies and realized they were low oxygen during the night, and they were slowly losing their brain. The brain is exquisitely sensitive to low oxygen. And so if you experience that your memory loss is accelerating, and for no apparent reason, your diet is impeccable, it's a low-carb diet, you're exercising, which we know now creates a hormone called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which helps make more neurons in the brain, so exercise is super important. So let's say you're doing everything right and you're still sliding towards dementia. If you are hypoxic and you do what's needed, like this continuous positive airway pressure, if you're sleep apneic, it can totally turn around dementia if you get it early enough. Also, non-Alzheimer's related dementia can be from toxic exposures, like I blogged about a woman who was sent to a nursing home because she had dementia and couldn't care for herself. Well, it turned out her house was moldy, and when her daughter realized that, who was my patient, and remediated the home, could bring the mother back, and the mother gradually got her mind back. And so some of these dementias are reversible, but the idea for all of you is to prevent that. And what makes your brain healthy makes the rest of your body healthy. And where Qigong comes in is Qigong has a very amazing anti-inflammatory effect on the whole body, including the brain. And also it helps to actually manage stress amazingly well. Many of my patients who have PTSD and chronic anxiety disorders, Qigong has helped them enormously. But what I tell my patients is don't expect immediate results. Sometimes you get immediate results, and other times you just have to rewire the brain. The brain is incredibly plastic. It will make those changes you want, but it only makes them with repetition. So with mindfulness meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, you have to have faith and hang in there and repeat it, like learning how to ride a bicycle. Eventually your brain gets what you want. And that's exactly how I got out of my disasters, is I trained my brain. So my brain now is different than when you first met me. He called me when I first came to Santa Fe. He was looking for a personal assistant. And he also said he'd give private sessions. And I was a mess after my snowboarding accident. My brain was damaged, this time structurally. So my cognition was totally intact, unlike before. And so I was in bad shape. And so my brain became rewired from repetition, and I'm not the same person. I guess you can see that. I'm not the same person.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you very much. Other questions? Yes. Would you share your name?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Lily.
Thank you, Lily.
And thank you. Thank you for your inspiration, and we're going to change things and move them. Thank you. I have a question about the latest research with telomeres. I'm not up to snuff. I don't know if anyone knows whether or not practicing Qigong can either, let's say you start late in life, aging nation, can it repair the ends of the telomeres, or at least stop any further damage? Does anyone know? Arrest.
Inflammation in the brain.
Okay.
And so inflammation speeds up degeneration in the brain. So that's how Qigong can stop that. And go ahead, say one thing. Just one thing. Also, the greatest impact on our health is the quality of the signal from our heart to our brain. So when we're practicing Qigong, our hearts are open, right? And we're sending these positive signals to the brain, and the brain chemistry reacts to that. And floods our body with these self-healing. The body knows how to heal itself. It kicks in the self-healing mechanisms, and coherence appears. So I know that's one way for sure.
Okay. So, we all know from our tradition, from our living experience, also many quantitative study available, what's the secret of longevity, when it's really happiness and feel young in your heart feel young. The rest of the body may feel some limitation when you continue aging. As long as you keep your heart young, keep your spirit high, young, open, then you can prolong your longevity. So then another stress is continuous effect of, limiting us from living to a full potential, including health, longevity, life in general. So, but now we do have this more specific study can validate that, or telemeter, or any other, biomarker to validate that. Oh, this practice can, affect in the biology measurably. Yeah. So that's exciting pieces. Yeah. Actually, I have just last conference, Super Chi Summer in Omega, one of the presenter presented that information about using Qigong to change telomeres.
Wonderful.
That's specific. I don't know the detail, but I was excited. Oh, wow, great! Now more science coming out, validating this, ancient knowledge and wisdom and practice. Yeah.
And I also find your short 10-minute inner smile, the connection internal between heart and brain, so helpful and so simple. Thank you all. Thank you.
Are there any online questions?
Lots of online questions. We don't know if we can cover all, but let's start maybe.
Yes.
Well, how are we doing time-wise?
We have about
questions?
20 minutes
Oh, good. Okay.
left. Okay.
Hi, is this working? No, it's not working. Keep talking there, it's getting louder. Okay, good. Okay, we have, the first question is, I'd like to ask Mingtong and everyone if it's possible to help Fachi to my sister Rosa. She's 62 and has fatal ALS disease, from Enrique.
Yeah. And I think you know the answer if you're practicing Qigong already. And again, La Qi is one of the best way, direct way, generating, sending, sharing the healing energy with your loved ones. So very simple movement. You can incorporate in sound to it. More importantly is your visualization. Your mind tap into the energy, connecting with your loved ones, whoever you want to share the healing energy. And that's something I recommend for everyone to do. Doesn't matter what their condition is. Really, even doesn't matter what is the cause of that condition, as you understand or not. Yeah, everything is energy. So when you go into the energy, you can addressing all the causes, deeper causes. Yeah, you can address in the mind, body, heart, and this deeper alignment. You can connecting, affecting the function of the being to awaken into the wholeness. So in this La Qi, as you're visualizing, the people in front of you, or you can visualize yourself be with them, whether in person or long distance, then you're gathering the energy from the universe. So as Robin, Chris, and many of us are speaking of the importance of connecting with the nature is the true medicine. And when we speak of the nature in Qigong, nature is everything. The subtle energy beyond just what is visible, You know, the earth, the tree, the water, the sky, that is important, but also connecting with the invisible energy of the nature. When you're connecting with that, then you don't feel the boundary between, you know, you and your loved one, or any boundary. You don't feel the boundary, you know, even in this event, you know, its whole energy field is connecting with the entire planet Earth. So when you think of that big, then in the energy field, you can send in energy to any place where it's needed, including yourself. So what you're learning for yourself is equally applicable for others, including your loved one, including your patients. So for the healthcare professional, one of the techniques we're going to learn and really practice so easy is really connecting that energy field in your office, in your treat room. Before the patient show up, you're even visualizing the energy is present already for them. So your job is opening their mind, body, heart to connecting with that source energy, which is the source of all medicine. That source energy is source of all health, all healing, including within, including other people, including life around you. So you can incorporate in so many ways, so many ways.
Great. Here's the next one. And it's also for
Speak
you.
up a little.
Hello?
You
There
just
we
keep
go.
talking and
Keep talking and it comes on.
Yeah.
Another question for Mingtong. Is it okay to integrate practices from different kinds of Qigong, whether you learn them in workshops or reading?
Yeah, and that's a good question, and we're inviting our friends to comment in on that too. It's just my personal view from my experience of what's the quality, what is the principle for you to create the best result of your mind-body alignment. So in that context, it's really better to practice one form of Qigong as one routine. You can practice another form of Qigong as another routine, not mixing them together. Yeah. So if you have more time, you say, I'm going to practice 3 routines a day or 2 routines a day, then it's okay. You can practice in different Qigong. And so you follow that principle, that guidance. Okay? Then often, of course, if you have very minimum time, then I suggest you stay with one system as long as you can, as deep as you can, as consistent as you can. So you can, instead of focus on trying to do everything, you focus on what is important and do that consistently as deep as possible. And that's just my take on it. Yeah.
And a question for Dr. Robin Benson. Please explain more about the amplified regenerative therapy you do using platelet-rich plasma and ozone.
So I do this procedure where I actually extract your blood, about 60 cc's, and we get your platelet-rich plasma. So it's about 10 or 12 cc's, and I use this for sexual regeneration, so for women with incontinence or any type of pelvic pain, men for ED, also for people who want hair restoration, facial rejuvenation, and also for joints. So it's pretty awesome in that there's like no worry of any type of infection. It works very fast. It helps to restore healthy tissue, helps with circulation, and also helps with bone regeneration. So it's pretty fantastic in that way. So yeah, there's lots of ways to use amplified regenerative therapies. I also use ozone in medicine, which is pretty amazing. You also do this a little bit, but really excellent for any type of infections. That's a big issue in terms of just something that also causes degenerative issues in our body. So I'm really thrilled that I can offer all of these to my patients. And I can't tell you how many surgeries are prevented because of this form of regenerative medicine.
It's great. I can attest.
I keep a lot of my colleagues healthy too this way.
What?
I just have one more.
Okay.
One more question, great.
Here we go. Okay. Can your thyroid be healed? I've been on thyroid medication for 20 years for low thyroid.
I have quite many cases. People get ready of thyroid medication, including hormone, supplement. So it's really up to us how to get into our own body, mind, heart, establish. Another way to put it is like you are having a new jump study and jump start of your system, like rebooting your system, basically. Yeah. So just like computer, when it's overused, not functioning well anymore, it's like rebooting is one of the very effective way of doing it. And then also upgrading your operating system internally. Yeah, so not only these glands, these hormone, responding to the chemical, biological aspect of ourselves, but responding to stress directly, responding to how we relating to life, and the hormone issue is also relating to your life force, the gene energy, the kidney energy. And so that kidney energy is regulating, the overall functioning of a glandular system. And that's not just a knowledge from traditional Chinese medicine, but it's a deeper energetic mechanism that you can tap into to restarting the function again. Yeah, it's really about deeply awakening the wisdom. It's there already inside of you, but you have to go there, connecting that, starting connecting with your body, then discover the true medicine within you.
Thanks.
Actually, one of the things that was a challenge for me, now it's almost 25 years ago when I discovered Qigong, was a thyroid condition. And everything changed. I really only practiced about 3 months, and I went back to the doctor and he took me off of, forget what it's even called now, but Armour Thyroid and all these other things. And so, yeah, it did it. It's an inside-out job. And it works.
I do want to say we have a couple of things that we need to do. There's a gentleman, Tom, standing by who's going to give us a little bit of his experience with a rather remarkable experience of what's happened with his practice. I do want to say that this is not a free lunch. Qigong is not a free lunch. You have to earn these extraordinary things that everybody is talking about. It's a practice, and you will get the most benefit from the practice the deeper into the practice that you go. When you go past the barriers of limitation and pain that show up from a body that hasn't been moving quite as much and starts to move more. So I want you to know from all of us that this is not a magic bullet, 2 seconds and things go away, but all of the things that everyone has said, everyone on the panel, Zoom, and everyone here on the stage, there's enormous truth there because there's commitment and there's willingness to do the practice and benefit from the results. Tom, are you there?
I'm ready. There we go.
Wait a second.
I'm here.
Wait, we have to get your picture on the screen. Tom, we have a limited amount of time, but you have an extraordinary story. So if you can tell it succinctly, I know everybody will benefit from it.
Great. I'll be really short with my story. I was a business professional for most of my early life till my mid-40s, and then switched to coaching to try and feel better about what I was doing. And thinking that if I changed my purpose, it would feel better. But after being a successful business coach and helping people, I still got sick. And I started with a black mold infection that gave me electrical storms in my brain and made me pretty dysfunctional with my brain. So some of the people were talking about that. And worked to clear that up for quite a while. Underneath that was some Lyme disease. I had been living up in the mountains where the black mold occurred and also got a tick bite up in the mountains. And this was about 8 years ago now. And started treatments through the Lyme disease, through the antibiotic treatments that are kind of typical. And that took a lot out of my body. And my whole focus, as some of the other people were referencing, was I was letting the doctors try and heal me. And I was doing everything they said, including taking the supplements and doing all that work, and just spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars over a period of time to try and get better from Lyme disease. And then subsequent to the Lyme disease, I actually got stage 3 lymphoma. I had cancer. So I developed like a 3-stage disease process over a period of about 5 years. And my body just kept going downward. I had to go through chemotherapy, extensive chemotherapy. It damaged all of the nerves in my back and created radiating pain down my arms and my legs that was very, very bad. And I ended up at Stanford Clinic at their pain management for several years, trying to overcome that pain. I wasn't an opioid addict, but I had to use opioids to manage my pain. And Stanford had to keep upping the management levels until I was on the maximum dose of Oxycontin that you could take. And then they gave up on me and said, they didn't give up on me, they said, there's nothing more I can do for you. And at that point, I switched to, for the first time, looking at what I could do for myself directly, and started doing some meditation techniques that I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza on how to go into my body and start to learn about the relationship between my mind and my body. And that helped me start to manage my pain for the first time. And I thought I was on a good path, but then my gallbladder gave out about a year ago now. And I had to go in for emergency gallbladder surgery and had my gallbladder removed. And that kind of finished my body energy, as Mingtong calls it, the Jing. I just felt literally dead inside. And I'd done a little bit of Qigong before that and found it helpful. And I knew to do something very different than I'd done in the past. And going back to the doctors, there's really nothing more they could do for me. So I went to a retreat about a year ago now, June. And I went there, had to go in a wheelchair because I was too weak to get through the airport. And showed up there and was nervous because I was only 3 weeks post-surgery when I got there. And the first few days were very hard, as it's been said, this is work, and it took a lot of commitment to stay. And by day 3, I was wondering whether I should be there or not because I was so tired and struggling, but something opened up in me. And the key thing that happened, I think, in the first week of the process is I learned how to come back into my body in a way I'd never realized before, even with many years of meditation. And I created a relationship with my body and a connection with my body that I didn't think was possible, didn't know was possible. And as a result, something just switched on in me. And I've been doing Qigong now for a year. At the time, a year ago, I was on an immense number of medications for prostate, for sleep, still on methadone for pain, still on Lyrica for pain. And about another 5 medications beyond that. Today, I've gone to several retreats and I've been doing consistent practice. And now I can say that I'm driving again for the first time. A few months ago, I can drive. I couldn't drive more than about 30 to 45 minutes at a time because the vibration of the car would upset the nerves in my back and create a lot of pain. And so I was very limited in what I could do. Just getting back and forth to the doctors was difficult. Since I've been doing Qigong, I completely reconstructed my back with Mingtong's guidance and my teacher's guidance. And I just got back from a retreat about 2 weeks ago from Tahoe, where I went 5 hours up, 5 hours back in the car with no pain. So my energy levels are amazing. I'm back up and I'm coaching again. I'm now coaching people with severe illness, using Qigong as one of the primary things that I'm working with people on, along with just awareness techniques. And the only medication I'm on now is I am on the last little bit of I was on a antidepressant medication. I was on 300 milligrams. I'm on 75 milligrams currently, and scheduled to go off that in the next 30 days. I'm on a little bit of thyroid medication and hoping to get off that. I have nothing else. I'm on no pain medication, no Lyrica. I sleep wonderfully. I do use a CPAP, as one of the doctors mentioned, and that's really helped as well. But my brain's clear, and I'm just really thankful. This practice has literally saved my life in the sense of bringing back a sense of purpose and an energy that I've never experienced before, an aliveness inside of me that I'm grateful for every morning.
Thank you, Tom. So as we wind toward the conclusion of our program, both here live at the Chi Center and also with all of you who are listening and watching via live stream, there are just a couple of announcements we wanted to make. Ilka mentioned that there's a Petaluma program at the end of July. Those dates, Mingtong, are
July 30, 31st. Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. There's also one of the retreats that Tom was talking about will be taking place here at the Chi Center in July, and it begins when, Mingtong?
June 30.
And
right here.
And it's a 28-day retreat?
You can stay here either for 1 week up to 4 weeks long.
Yeah.
Yeah, traditionally in China, the main prescription of Qigong is 4 weeks long as one cycle. And of course, our life is so busy here, and if you can start in 1 week, then you can continue and deepen in the practice after an extensive, very powerful change, whatever time you can invest in your own healing practice.
We also want to announce for you that on August 4th through the 6th, here at the Chi Center will be the first annual Qigong and Conscious Aging Retreat with some really wonderful people. Joan Bornsenko, Father Richard Rohr, Andrew Harvey, Judith Orloff, Nathan Crane. Mingtong, of course, is going to weave practice all the way through the time, giving longer and shorter periods so that people who have never practiced will have an introduction. People who have practiced will have a wonderful retune, and that will be a thread that will weave all the way through. Sedena and I will do some work on conscious aging. There'll be great food, terrific music, and a chance to really explore these extraordinary acres of land. So that's the 4th through the 6th, and you can find out about all of these things, the retreat, the Petaluma event, and the conference in August at chicenter.com. So go and explore all of that. In closing, I just want to say a couple of things, and then Mingtong or Sedena may want to say something, and that is that in our book, Do Not Go Quietly, one of the things we often talk about is that one is never too old or too young to live their dreams, and that is a key to a vital, alive, engaging life. And the same thing is true for everything that we've talked about today. No matter where you are in your life, whether you are limitless in your physical health and movement, or whether you have any number of restrictions or limitations, it is never too soon or never too late to begin the process of self-care and self-healing. Sorry, it's a gift that we have. It's our right, it's our privilege. And in a society that has lost its compassion at so many levels and has ceased to be concerned about the well-being of its citizens, we can reclaim that any moment, any day, any instant that we choose to. And the path of Qigong is a way to reclaim it. The path of conscious aging is a way to reclaim it. I just want to close with another quote by the Dalai Lama. And this is a quote that's in the booklet that if you haven't received on the way out, you can pick up a copy. And don't forget, at the end of this formal panel, Mingtong's going to conduct a practice with what, a 5 5-minute break or a 10-minute break?
We may have a 10 minutes break.
10-minute break, okay. So here's the quote, another quote from the Dalai Lama. Man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, he then must sacrifice his money in order to recuperate his health. Then he is anxious about the future and doesn't enjoy the present. As a result, he doesn't live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die, and then he dies never having lived. So we have an extraordinary choice. The choice is in our hands, it's in our hearts, it's in our everyday practices. So we hope that all of you have enjoyed, we hope you have all enjoyed this time. We hope we have enjoyed the wisdom of all the people who have shared their experiences with you. And they are extraordinary experiences, aren't they? Every single one of them. And they speak for us, each in our own way. Mingtong, do you have something you'd like to say at the close?
Thank you, George. Thank you, every one of you here, my friends here, and online, and everybody, participating. And for you to come today too, it's really amazing wisdom we share today, and really discover you have the wisdom. And we're here to really engage in this experiment. It's like human experiment, way beyond any time ever happened in the history of humanity. These teaching, this wisdom being available for a long time, but have been kept secretive until 30, 40 years ago. Now it's all available for all of us. So it's up to us really how to discover what is it possible for you. So sometimes people ask me, why are you so passionate about Qigong? Why are you so happy when you working with people? And they're like, hopefully today you know the reason, when you hear these stories, everybody's stories, Gabe and the Tom, like, how could you not be passionate about? How could you not feel so, rewarding, fulfilling in this way of life? And I feel very blessed. So our job here is really to creating a support system, make this possible. And it's really we are initiating, and I think it's continue happening a few years already, but I think we're making a bigger step. It's really a revolutionary paradigm shift of healthcare system. Yeah, shifting from symptom-oriented or disease-oriented to self-care and cause, mind, body, heart, wholeness-oriented medicine, which is a free medicine. The best medicine is within you, which is free. So now it's possible. We can discover that together. So, Haola, thank you.
Haola.
Thank you. Yeah. I'd like to invite you to join the practice. So if you can stay, we're going to be a short practice, 30 minutes or so. For most of us thinking, oh my God, every day 30 minutes is long time. And so today we made an excuse, a good excuse, coming together in person, coming together slow online, gathering, really so we can say, hey, we can do this for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. You're making that dedication. So in life, in the busy life, often very difficult to do. And so one of the magic of Qigong is also when you do it together, either in person with a group or doing it together, slow online gathering like today, energetically amplifying the power, the benefit, and also allow you to feel the connection. So when we have received so much wisdom, from everybody in this gathering, and so when we do this movement, we're not only opening the heart, but also opening the energy channel, energy gates, and deeply releasing the stress, releasing the blockages, so the new energy can flow, and the old energy can also awaken into its true nature, true wisdom, true capacity, true, purpose of life deeply. So again, boil down to it, the main discovery, my own journey is discovering energy. Energy is the foundation for life, foundation for health. So more energy, more health, more energy, greater happiness. More energy is a deeper fulfillment of life, deeper connection of life. So that is a baseline, the foundation. So every day, every time we practice, really focus on that most important, connection is with the energy of life. So with that said, let's start in some movement. I'm going to standing up. So let's move in the body a little bit after the sitting, in this event, or after walking hard in front of the computer. Yeah. The body feels stiff. So when we feel the body stiff, what do? Normally say, you move less. Yeah. When we feel the pain, what do? We protect, the pain. Or, trying to fix the pain with whatever drug it is. You limiting yourself from, connecting with the body, connecting with the energy. So the Qigong approach is going opposite. Wherever you're feeling discomfort, feeling the pain, feeling the stiffness, you do the practice to connect with that part of the body, but more importantly is to awaken the energy. So when the energy is stiff, blocked, the simple movement, you opening the energy, awakening the energy, moving the energy. The more structured energy, allow yourself go deeper into the place where often you don't want to go. So that's the place, 3 places. One is the shoulder, another is the hip, another is the spine. These are 3 key areas, not only connecting with the entire body, including the brain, internal organ, but also really 3 places where we carry stress. Physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress, you name it, So that's one of the reasons we're going to do the next movement, and maybe do 2 movements to connect with these 3 parts. So one is the shoulder, so we're going to raising the arms upward. So in this position, you're going to feel more intense sensation, feeling of your body, including pain, discomfort, including the tension from stress. The stress is there before you raise your hands. But now you're activating the energy by raising your hand. So the energy wants to move, and yet the cumulative stress of the body carried in the shoulder, causing the blockages. So the energy cannot move easily. Now you're feeling the tension, even pain. So idea is strengthening the energy and same time allowing this powerful energy go into the place where it needs healing, releasing the blockages, releasing the pain, the cause of pain. So you're not resisting the pain or resisting the body or resisting even the stress or resisting your shoulder. You learn to relax. Now we're learning to move the body, so rotating to the left side. So not only you're activating more energy of your shoulder in this movement, you're rotating the spine. So in this position, with your own best effort, you may noticing the tightness inside of you, even pain. So whatever level of discomfort is allow you to connect with a part of the body where you're experiencing stress, tension, tightness, blockages. So by stretching, you're releasing the tightness, you're releasing the blockages. Then gently letting go, slowly circling halfway towards the front. Rotating again. Again, the key of Qigong, as we shared before, is repetition. You're repeating the movement, going deeper and deeper, connecting with your body. You're relaxing your shoulder. You're relaxing your hip. Relaxing to this position. And you're connecting with your own body, especially by accepting, embracing all the sensation, feeling inside of you. The pain, the stress, the tightness. Accepting your shoulder, accepting your spine, accepting, connecting internally. All the sensation, feeling inside of you. Then gently letting go, slowly circling towards the front. Continuously to the right side, rotating halfway. As much as you can, with your own best effort. You're always starting where you're at, with your own best effort. Allow your mind connecting with your own body, especially the place where you're feeling pain, feeling discomfort. Accepting your own body with loving kindness, with deeper compassion, deeper connection. And gently letting go, circling halfway towards the front. Repeating the movement slowly, rotating with your own best effort. Now gently close your eyes and deeply noticing. Oh, I have a body. Oh, this is my own body. Oh, I can discover my own body by accessing the deeper dimension of your body. Starting embracing the pain, embracing the discomfort, embracing the tightness, embracing the part of your body needs more healing, needs more love, needs more attention. Now gently letting go, circling towards the front. Now noticing. In spite of pain, discomfort, allow yourself to relax. Relax your shoulder. Relaxing with the intention of loving kindness, with the intention of coming back to your own body. And noticing, embracing all sensation, feeling of your brain. You can smile into your brain. Smile into your shoulder, in spite of pain, discomfort. You smile into your shoulder. Hello, my shoulder. Hello, my arms. Noticing the softening, the relaxation, the deeper connection. You can smile deeply into your entire spine when you're rotating. So slowly we're going to rotating as well, changing the sound. Haola means all is well, getting better. So slowly rotating to the left side, we say, Haola. Repeating, Haola. Haola. Circling to the front, continue to the right side, feeling your body, feeling the vibration. Haola. 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 front, relax, noticing. And continuously, deeply embracing your own body, the deeper sensation, feeling inside of you. Acknowledging the life energy, the source of life, the energy of life inside of you. Continuously awakening, opening, flowing, reconnecting. In spite of pain, in spite of difficulty, in spite of challenges, awakening the energy, awakening the source energy of life, the source energy for health, happiness, and deeper life fulfillment. And slowly moving your arms down, feeling the subtle energy around you, subtle energy inside of you, awakening, opening. And feeling your shoulder is awakening with more energy. Your arm is awakening with more energy. Your brain, your nerve system is awakening with more energy flow. Your spine, your joints, your bone marrow awakening with more energy. Now slowly lifting your arm upward in front of you, feeling the infinite energy of the universe, including the energy of the earth, opening to the infinite energy of the heaven above you, relaxing between the heaven and earth, simply relaxing, simply noticing, simply connecting with energy, the infinite energy of the universe above you, the ocean of energy around you, deep inside of you. And slowly move your hands down, gathering inwardly, deeper and deeper into your energy brain, and smile into your brain, downward to your shoulder, smile into your shoulder, downward to your hip, to your stomach, lower abdomen, your hips, thighs, knees, legs, and the feet. Internally noticing, internally accepting, internally connecting, internally allowing the energy, awakening deeper, and opening deeper. Now slowly placing hands on both sides under your rib cage, on both sides comfortably, holding the base of your rib cage on both sides comfortably. Now slowly squatting down to a comfortable position. Your feet continue about shoulder width. Now we're going to move the hip, opening the hip, releasing the stress tension from the hip area, including the internal pelvic, sacrum areas. Again, that's another problematic area. Now, on one hand, has a strong energy of life. On the other hand, carries stress. So when we open in energy, we're also releasing the stress at the same time. Move your hip to the right side as much as you can. Then to the left side as much as you can. Then to the front as much as you can. And to the back as much as you can. Now connecting the four direction by initiating the movement from the hip, rotating to the right side, to the front, to the left side. Continue to the back and keeping your upper body straight. Upper body straight. Concentrating to your hip. Think of your hip initiating the movement, rotating in a big circle, horizontally as big as you can. Mentally concentrating, noticing, internally noticing all the sensation, feeling inside of you, both the comfortable and uncomfortable. Allowing the intention, concentration, allowing the movement, opening, releasing the blockages. Awakening the energy flow inside of you, including the Qing energy, the energy of regeneration, the energy of your DNA, including the sexual energy, awakening, opening, awakening to life, opening to the generative process of life inside of you, opening to the deeper joy of life, deeper creativity of life. Slowly, continuously. Now reversing the direction as slow as you can. And keeping your upper body as straight as you can. Isolating the hip. Moving the hip as slow as you can. Mindfully noticing. Embracing all the sensation, feeling inside of you. Both the comfortable and uncomfortable. With the purpose of awakening, opening the energy flow. Now reversing the direction again, one more time, circling. And slow down the movement back to the center in the comfortable position, moving your tailbone forward as much as you can. Then moving tailbone backward as much as you can. Tailbone forward. Opening the sacrum, tailbone, spinal energy flow. Tailbone backward. Stretching the spine. Opening the energy flow. Tailbone forward. Backward. Forward. Backward. Forward. Backward. Back to the center. Relaxing, noticing. And slowly lifting your body straight naturally. Relaxing, releasing the hand. Noticing internally. Deeply noticing your own body. Deeply acknowledging all sensation, feeling inside of you as ongoing expressing of energy, expressing of life inside of you. The energy of your brain awakening, opening. The energy of your heart awakening, opening. The energy of your 5-organ system awakening, opening. The energy of your subconscious mind awakening, opening. The energy of your spirit awakening, opening. Continuously allowing, noticing, connecting. Now quietly make a transition to sitting position, sitting comfortably in your chair. We're going to do one more practice, which is very simple and one of the most powerful practices from the sound healing. So we're going to awaken in the Jing energy, as I mentioned in the panel discussion. So these 3 sounds will awaken in the power inside of you. So the first sound is awakening the physical power of your kidney system, the physical power of your DNA energy. And the second sound, awakening the emotional dimension of the same energy system, transforming fear to creativity to nourishment. And the third sound is awakening the spiritual dimension of this energy, the primal energy of life awakening to a spiritual purpose, the wisdom dimension of this energy, including evolution of life and continuous creation of life in the physical form. So deeply making the best effort. And the first sound, awakening the power like this. And together, playfully. Now noticing. You may feel the warmness, even burning sensation inside of you. The power, the fire of life awakening inside of you. From the base of your spine, continuously awakening, opening, circulating to the entire body. Chanting the second sound, the Yu sound. Again, you can follow with your own best effort. Breathing deeply. Relaxing, noticing. Chanting the third sound, awakening deeper dimension of this energy, allowing this life force moving upward from the base of the spine to the heart and to the brain, awakening the capacity of your heart and the brain, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And chanting the in sound, breathing deeply. Breathing deeply. Breathing deeply. relaxing, noticing, allowing, awakening, opening, connecting deeper and deeper. Allowing the energy of life, the energy of creation, continuously flowing deeper and deeper, and naturally connecting, nourishing mind, body, heart, and spirit. Naturally connecting the energy of the earth beneath you, the energy of the heaven above you, the subtle energy of life all around you. Awakening, opening, connecting deep inside of you. With pure intention, with shared purpose of how is well, getting better, and the shared purpose of healing ourselves, healing of others, healing of life. Together, we're dedicating everything we have shared, practiced, activated, embodied to the healing of yourself, healing of people around you, healing of family, healing of community, healing of humankind, healing of the planet Earth, all life in harmony, in wholeness, in peace. Feeling the inner peace, the inner wholeness, the inner joy of life energy awakening, opening, connecting. And gently open your eyes slowly. Move your body freely. Hao la. Thank you. So we're going to have more fun whenever we can. Change the healthcare paradigm starting with us. And now even not only just possible, but it's really more and more people are aware, more and more people are ready for this responsibility of self-care and self-healing, self-empowerment. And when we're doing it together, then the result is amplified. Yeah. Thank you.